Hi, Joyce.
Hi, Peace.
So nice to be behind the camera for once on the video on my
And
channel.
it's so weird to be in front of the camera. It's like we're both swapping places.
Exactly, which is good. Because now I just want to sit down and learn from you. The context is, you said in 2021 that you're going to change your life in 1 year. And
Yeah.
you did it, right? You wanted to study psychology, you're doing it. You wanted to get into product management, you're doing it. You wanted to kill one company and start another one, and you did it amongst the other tiny things in between. I want to change my life this year, so. But it's really just, if you can walk us through some of the steps, the decisions that you made, how you just went about just getting the life that you dreamt of in 2021 and getting all that done in less than 365 days. And you can give us as much context as you can around why these pillars were very important as well. Go! Hey folks, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is PC Timmy. I'm a multifaceted creator, a marketing professional, and a teacher, and I'm passionate about growing people and growing businesses. See, the goal is that anybody who comes across me or any piece of my content is inspired and or motivated to get better in your business, in your career, and in your life. As you watch this video, like and comment and share to your friends and family if you like it. Please subscribe to my channel. Enjoy this video, and I'll see you. Peace.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I remember in December 2021, we had a conversation and, I told you I wanted to pretty much change my life. I wasn't happy with some of the jobs I was doing at the time and, I had interests in new things. And I remember then, I told you I was interested in product management and operations management. And we're trying to figure out, which of them kind of was a better fit for the skills I already had. And you said you were going to be my accountability manager, and you did. We had weekly calls where you checked in on my progress.
Oh,
and
this is not about me though.
No. But yeah, we made a plan, and I think at some point I decided that product management was more exciting for me, especially because two things I love innovation and I love user experience. It's always very important to me how users experience products, services, and all of that. So I signed up for a product management course. It was more of a scholarship application, actually. I signed up for it in December, and then in January, and I think it was like the very first week in January, I got an email saying that I got the scholarship. I was really excited about that, and I went in for it. And I think also in December, I had made the decision to study psychology in the year 2022. And so, but then I wanted to take a short course, like a 3-month course, just to kind of get an insight into what psychology was. Because I think it's one thing to romanticize something as, huge as psychology, but then it's another thing to really know what it looks like or what it, it feels like, studying it. And so I remember I took that course on Coursera, and I had applied for financial aid. And so I got that as well, 2 days after I got the product management scholarship. First thing that came to my mind was, how the hell am I supposed to do these 2 courses at the same time? But knowing me, I've always been someone who just does heavy things simultaneously, which honestly is madness. Don't do it. But and so I started, honestly. The psychology course was a 3-month course, so I just took my time, paced myself with that. And then I, pretty much did the product management course for, I think, about a month, and it really went well. I really enjoyed learning the theoretical aspects of product management, and I saw myself doing it as, as a day-to-day job. And so the next thing was, figure out how to actually do it as a job. And I didn't put a lot of pressure on myself. I just kept on studying more. I took more courses just to kind of compare the different things that I had learned from each of these courses and see how, they come together. And then it was in February. And by February, I think I started getting frustrated, honestly,
Why?
because I wanted to start something new, right? And I was still doing the things that, I was doing, in 2021. So it just seemed like I was getting ready for the year, but I really just wanted to start something new. At the time, I was doing corporate PR. I had a PR agency, Elite Resources. I wasn't really happy with the kind of PR I was doing because I don't think I really liked the clients I was working with, which in retrospect is very important to me right now. If I don't like a client, I really can't work with them. Like, I have to be passionate about you to the point where I sleep and I think about you, I dream about you. So I wasn't really happy with the work I was doing. I was making money, but it wasn't fulfilling. And so I remember in February, Peace and I went to Kenya to shoot, I think it was the 5th season of Founders Connect. Yeah, and until date, that trip is a trip that remains, I don't know, it's a blessing and a mystery to me, because when I was going on that trip, I was distraught. I was not myself. I was losing it. I was sick and tired of everything I was doing. And I wanted my life to change, honestly. And I remember just going on that trip and just really being happy because it was going to be like a change of environment. And I get to see one of my favorite people in the world and just spend time with her.
So sweet.
As well as also document stories from, founders and business leaders in Africa, because that I realized was also very encouraging. If you don't watch Founders Connect videos, I don't know what you're doing.
Tell them.
There's a lot that you get to learn. And so I remember during that trip, one day I broke down and I was really just fed up. And I had a conversation. I had a personal coach. I had a conversation with him. He encouraged me. And he told me, he was like, if you want something, then you have to go for it. Like, you cannot wait for it to come to you. Just doing this course and that will not make things come to you. You have to go for it. And so I remember later that day, I, had a conversation with Peace. And at the time, Peace had some work to do in Kenya as well. So some of her colleagues were in town. And I remember, just talking to her. And I'm not even sure how that conversation happened. But I remember Peace saying, one of my boss is head of product, and you should talk to her. And I was like, that's the most ridiculous thing. Like, how would I even just talk to her? Because even prior to that, I didn't even have like a lot of conversation with this person that we were talking about. But I was like, you know what? Maybe we just do that. And also during that trip, some of the founders that we interviewed, I remember, because what we'd usually do is we kind of do research on the founders to know the stories that they've told, and just to get an insight on, how to interview them. And some of the people that we interviewed, we couldn't really find stories about them on the internet. And this has been the case for us at Founders Connect. Like, you're trying to interview a founder and you're trying to know more about them before you interview them, but there are really no personal stories about them. Just stories about maybe the products they're building or the startups that they're building and all of that. And so during that trip, I thought to myself, what if I help founders document their stories, right? And I'm not talking about, product announcements or fundraising announcements or any of that. Just your journey to become a founder, your journey to becoming this person that you are today. How did you get there? What was it like when you started? What was it that you did, right? And just document this story so that, even people who are aspiring to become founders, people who are aspiring to build products and companies tomorrow can read these stories and become inspired. Because it's like, for every episode of Founders Connect that I have produced and watched, I have learned something from it, right? And there's so many ways one particular story can be told, right? It could be in form of a video interview. It could be a written text. It could be on a Twitter thread, right? And I just felt like that was an opportunity to do that. And so all of these things were happening simultaneously during this trip, and I was losing my mind still. And so the day before I left Kenya, we're having dinner, And I don't even know how, but I just randomly mentioned it to the head of product at Stax. And I was like, I just concluded a product management course and I would love to get my hands dirty. Do you think that you can, let me do an internship? And she was like, actually, that would not be a bad idea. I was like, what? And the reason is this. At some point during that trip, we had to shoot some videos for the team. And, I kind of assisted Peace in, kind of shooting those videos. And she said that she was watching me while I was shooting those videos. And she liked how I kind of, managed things and people and just made sure that the videos came out nice. And I was like, oh, really? And so she was like, take my number. I'm going to be in Kenya for another 1 week. But when I get back to the US, text me. And the rest was history, honestly. My interview was great. I pretty much just had to prove how, the skills that I have already gained in all of these years doing so many things, were transferable into product management, because really and truly, that is what it is at the end of the day. Just being able to, manage different people, being able to manage a cross-functional team, right? You're talking about product designers, you're talking about marketers, you're talking about engineers, being able to think innovatively, and being able to manage problems. It's a problem-solving role. You have to be able to make decisions. You have to be able to think critically. And I just saw how all of these skills that were required for that role were things that I have, kind of developed over the years. And so we had conversations and my internship started. And while that was going on, I created a framework for storytelling for founders. And I started to talk to a few founders and say, hey, I noticed that you don't have personal stories about yourself. And I think that your journey has been inspirational. This is what I'm coming up with. And this is how I think that we can solve that problem. Are you interested? And a few people were interested. And it pretty much just started. I had no idea how to do it, aside the framework that I had not done that before, really. I'd never really done personal storytelling for an entrepreneur before then. It was mostly corporate PR I had done before then, but then, people trusted me and we just rolled and we just started doing it. And it just felt like everything started coming together in less than 1 month, really. Everything started coming together. At the time I was working with Emmanuel, we did a lot of storytelling. It was so inspiring. It was amazing to see how people, were inspired by his story, his journey. A 19-year-old CEO who was killing it day to day. It was amazing. We had a lot of discovery sessions where he just told me his stories over and over and over again, and we had to kind of identify storytelling opportunities and figure out how to tell the story, how to pitch the stories, and it was amazing. And during that time, I was still doing the psychology course, and then I had an exam, and I wrote the exam, and I passed, and I was just like, oh my God, what is going on? But one thing I realized that changed in that period where all of these things started to pick up was, I was no longer just sitting and waiting for opportunities to come. I was going for things. It's like, oh yeah, I want to work with this founder. I was reaching out to them, right? Peace, I want to do this. I don't know how to. Can you connect me with this person? Can you help me figure this out? I was asking for help. I was making plans every day. I was staying up late. I was studying. I was figuring out ways, new ways. I had never really engaged with the tech media before then. I stayed up at night, reading up on a lot of things, getting to know journalists, reaching out to journalists, learning how to pitch better. And I just kept on, improving my task. Same thing for product management. It was a whole new thing. This was my first time working in tech. It was some really serious technology that I was never familiar with before. And I studied really hard. I asked questions. I got involved in things that were even above my pay grade because I just really wanted to understand the system, to be able to contribute to it and be able to manage the things that I was trusted to manage. And soon after, I was very confident that I could, study psychology and I would excel as a psychologist. So I did some research on schools that I wanted to study at and chose the school that I'm currently studying at now, wrote an application to them, and I got accepted. And a few months later, I found myself packing my life into two luggages, and I moved to the UK. It was very scary for me because at that moment, I had just started a career in product management. I had just started this PR agency that I really didn't know if founders would be interested in telling their stories, because a lot of them were not really open to it, because storytelling is a very brave and vulnerable thing to do. And so not a lot of people are willing to do that because you have to share a lot of yourself. And I wasn't really sure how these two things were going to go. And I was adding school to the mix. And for anybody who has, combined work and school, you know that it's an insane thing to do. And then to do that with a job and a business on the side, I just didn't know what I was doing, but I was just confident that I was making the right decision, and whatever happens, happens, right? If we fail, we fail, but I was not going to give up. And so in September, I moved to the UK, started school. My internship was going to end in September because I had a 6-month internship at Stax. And even in September, I had just signed on a new client, a startup. I was really happy about it. And then by the end of that month, I was told that, I was being offered a full-time role at Stax. And I was like, what? Are you serious? And I remember my manager specifically saying, you have made yourself indisposable, and I know that there's so much that you can do. And I was really, really happy, even though it seemed like, once again, this is going to be another challenge, like more responsibilities, one person, so little time in a day. I took up the challenge. I was not discouraged. And I think this is my 4th month as an associate product manager. And the journey has been great, especially because it has tested my problem-solving skills a lot. It has tested my critical thinking skills a lot. And PR in itself has been great. We've been telling a lot of amazing stories, and I look forward to, so much more that we can do. And just seeing how things were going, I decided to, properly incorporate a PR agency and, hire people to do this work with me, because it was just too much for me to do alone. And that has been going well, honestly, and we're going to be launching soon to the public because we have been operating, it's been like beta operations, really. And school has been amazing as well. I have learned so much that I'm now applying in both jobs that I'm doing as a product manager and, as a storyteller. There's so much that psychology plays in all of these things. Even in product management, I'm interfacing with users a lot, and some of the skills that I'm learning in school, I'm applying it to my job, and also with storytelling, even just being able to convince people to tell their stories. There's so many psychological skills that I've picked that I've been able to apply in doing that. And even though it feels like a lot, and sometimes it feels so stressful and daunting and discouraging, I keep going because I see the essence of all of these things that I'm doing. I see the progress. I know who I was January 2022, and I know who is sitting down here right now. And I look forward to, who I would be in another year. And I can say for a fact that these things are not happening because I'm just wishing for them to happen. They're happening because I'm putting in the work. I'm determined. I tell myself that I can do it, and I do it. And, I work hard enough for people to recognize that I can do this and, for people to continue to give me the opportunity, to do this. And it's not easy to change your life in 1 year, but it is possible. And before all of this happened, I would see people say, a lot can happen in 1 year. You can change your life in 1 year. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't believe that. But really and truly, that has been my experience. And I just want to tell you that if you're looking to change your life, you probably don't know where you're going or what you want to do. You can do it. You just have to be very intentional about what you want to do and put your mind to it. Do what you need to do. Ask for help if you cannot do everything, and just keep going every day. Just take one small step every day. And in 1 year, when you look back, you'd probably see that you've gone far.
That's amazing. I have 3 questions.
Okay.
First one is, there's a lot of things that you're doing, like moving in psychology, PR, school, product management. How do you juggle? Like, give us 3 to 5 very quick tips on if I want to do as many things as Joyce is doing, because I want to change my life and have many things in many areas. How do I succeed in juggling all of it? Business, work, like in different parts.
Honestly, I think the first thing that I had to learn was planning and organization, right? There's so much context switching I have to do in a day. Sometimes I start my day with school. I have to take some classes, and in between I have to take some meetings with clients and maybe end the day, with my day job. So I had to learn to plan properly. Before all of this, before last year, I would just randomly take meeting appointments and all of that, but I had to learn to kind of allocate time to everything. So there's planning, a lot of planning that goes into that. Boundaries, I had to set boundaries, really. Doing these things, you may find yourself just working throughout the day, and you would run yourself and, get burnt out. And I got burnt out a number of times last year, and I had to learn the hard way. I had to set boundaries. And now, these days, once it's like 7, 8 p.m., I shut down for the day, right? Maybe the only thing I would do after 8 p.m. is study, maybe study ahead of the next day's school activities. But I kind of created a boundary around work where I don't do anything after 7 p.m. and that's just about it. 3, I think that determination is what's keeping me, really. Because I'm determined, it doesn't feel like I'm doing too much. It feels like these are all goals that I've set, and so I'm working towards them. So when I think about, who I want to be, and when I imagine who I want to be at the end of the year, I realize that these are the things that I have to do. And so I'm fixated on these things, and I just keep going. I think another thing that's helped me do this is I think I have built resilience over the years, right? For as long as I can remember, I have always done multiple things at the same time. And it's not because I'm overzealous or anything. I think it's just how my brain functions. I cannot really focus on just one thing. It feels like I'm not utilizing my brain in the way that it works. So when I do multiple things, I feel like there's balance in my life. And so I can just juggle all of these things. When I do one thing, I feel bored with it and I'm unable to really even dedicate my time to it. But if I'm able to switch context and I come back to this thing, I function better at it because it's like going outside of it and then coming back, I guess. I don't know how it works, but that's a question that psychology is kind of answering for me, and I can't wait to be able to properly answer that question and hopefully help people who experience this, understand themselves better. I think really, I just disconnect, when I have to. Weekends, I don't work, I don't do anything on the weekends. Like, I spend my Saturdays and Sundays just watching movies, just relaxing, podcasting, just doing anything else that gives me joy. But I would not work on the weekends. That's definitely a boundary that I've set, and I'm so happy that I respect.
That's amazing. What are you most grateful for when you think about the journey? What would you say you're most grateful for in all of it?
I think I'm most grateful for the support and encouragement that I got from my friends and my family when I was doing this. Just knowing that there were people that I could tell that, you know, I want to do this and I want to do that and I also want to do this. And they did not go, are you okay? They supported me, they encouraged me, and like they gave me all of the support that I needed. You know, when I started my product management course career, I got a lot of support from my friends. You know, when I was applying for, you know, my studies in psychology, had a lot of my support from my friends, the push, the encouragement that you can do this, you know. And even when I started the PR agency, I got a lot of support as well, even from my assistant. She has been amazing, supporting me and helping me do what needs to be done, reminding me when I need to get things done. So I think that support and encouragement from my people is what I'm most grateful for, because I think that without that, I could have gotten discouraged and just dropped the ball, really. I think that is what has pushed me so far. And they are still consistent in supporting and encouraging me. And I want to make them proud, so why not? I keep going. I just keep going for them.
Amazing. When you were talking and sharing your story, you mentioned a lot of things, right? There was accountability was there, taking courses before you started, kind of like know that this is what you wanted to do. You talked about having like a coach, asking for support, going for it and pitching yourself, having transferable skills and being able to like learn how to pitch yourself and work on it, doing the hard work so you become an expert. So you mentioned a couple of things that one can pick, but if you're going to drill down to the three most important things that you think you did or that you had to help you make the transition in 1 year, what would those three things be?
Accountability really is very important. Just knowing that you are accountable to people is very important. And this has come in form of, you know, my friends, my family. I have a personal coach who is very versatile. So he also works as, you know, like a career coach. You know, even in building my PR agency, he's been very instrumental. And even in, you know, making this career transition, he's been very instrumental. He's always there to answer my questions. And even on days when I struggle, you know, he always has the right answers. So that's accountability is very important. Commitment is also very important. I think that the fact that I'm committed to this goal of being a successful product manager, of being a psychologist, of, you know, being, you know, owning one of the best public relations, you know, agency in Nigeria and Africa is what's keeping me going. I know that these things are very important, right? I want to be one of the best product managers in the world, right? But with a twist, right? I don't want to just be like everybody. And that is why I'm studying psychology. I want to understand how humans, you know, think and behave and use products. And I want to bring that knowledge into product management. Same thing with storytelling. I think that storytelling has the power to impact lives. I think that it has the power to change narratives. It has the power to shape narratives. And I want to be able to do that. And so all of these things just keeps me committed. You know, I'm committed to this goal. And so commitment is one thing that keeps me going. And lastly, I think curiosity. Right. If you stop being curious, then you may not be encouraged to keep growing, right? So I'm constantly curious about these things that I'm doing, and that's how I get to learn more, because there are times when you feel like you know something and you're not curious about it, and so you don't learn more, and you're just there. You're not growing. You're just giving people the same thing every day. I think that curiosity is what keeps me going. Curiosity, you know, makes me want to know how to do things better, how to learn. You know, in PR, we're able to tell a story on local press, and then I know that we have to go international, and so I have to be curious enough to know how to do that. You know, same thing with psychology. Just learning how the brain works is fantastic. Boring, but fantastic. But then knowing how the brain kind of controls behavior, and behaviors that are positive and negative, and just knowing that this links back to the brain and understanding how that works, or even knowing that being motivated alone is a product of your brain, is what makes me curious to find out and understand how these things work. I want to know how these things work so that I can hack it. And when I hack it, I can teach people to hack it and just help them improve their lives. And same thing with product. I'm very passionate about user experience. I want to know how to improve user experience on different levels. And I consistently learn, about the different things that I need to learn to be able to achieve that goal and, just be that person that I want to be.
Amazing. So accountability, curiosity, and what was the second one again?
Commitment.
And commitment. Accountability. So sounds like accountant. That's really awesome. Thank you so much, Kush. Thank you so much, Joyce.
Thank you,
for
Peace.
sharing your story without me on camera. I'm gonna do more of this. It was fun, right? You did it.
Yeah, I liked it actually.
Awesome. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this video, inspires you as it has inspired me. Because accountability, commitment, I need to write it somewhere in the house so I can think about it and remember it every day. I think it's such a powerful thing. But I'm very, very proud of you. You inspire me a lot. So thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you,
on my channel.
Peace. Thank you for having me on your channel.
Beg them to subscribe. They can see your face.
Yes. Make sure you subscribe, share this video, comment if you have questions, and just watch out for the next video. You might see Peace on camera or maybe not.
But we dope anyway. Peace. Joyce out.